Hare Krishna, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Avani, and I'll be presenting my Dhruva Maharaj project. For my project, I have the topic of Dhruva's realizations as a timeline. It's basically going to show Dhruva's emotional transformation. So Dhruva had a transformation from being an angry and ambitious person to a humble and pure devotee. My goal for this presentation is to establish a timeline showing when all these changes occurred using evidence from the Bhagavatam. So this here is like a pretty vague outline of the events that happened in Dhruva Maharaj's story. So it starts with Dhruva having the desire to sit on his father's lap, but Suruchi, who's Dhruva's stepmother, says that Dhruva does not deserve to sit on his lap because he was not born out of her womb. Suruchi tells Dhruva that he must go to Lord Vishnu and ask him for a boon to be able to be born out of her womb so that he can sit on his father's lap. Suniti, who is Dhruva's mother, agrees with Suruchi, saying that Dhruva must go worship Lord Vishnu. And from there, Dhruva Maharaj meets his guru, Narad Muni. Narad Muni describes the Lord to Dhruva Maharaj, and then Dhruva Maharaj begins his meditation. Dhruva meets the Lord, and then after his meeting with the Lord, he returns back to his kingdom. So this is a pretty vague outline of what happened in the story, but now we'll get into the part about how he emotionally changed. So the story starts with Dhruva wanting to sit on his father's lap because his brother was sitting on it. Suruchi, Dhruva's stepmother, claims that Dhruva cannot sit in his father's lap because he was not born from her womb. This causes Dhruva to feel anger and sadness. And in Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 4.8.14, it says, as a snake, when struck by a stick, breathes very heavily, Dhruva Maharaj, having been struck by the strong words of his stepmother, began to breathe very heavily because of great anger. When he saw that his father was silent and did not protest, he immediately left the palace and went to his mother. So Suniti, Dhruva's mother, tells Dhruva to take shelter of the Supreme Personality of Godhead, and so then Dhruva feels determined and he leaves his father's house. So he receives instructions from Narad Muni, and this is when his emotions begin to change, especially when Narad Muni begins to describe the Lord to Dhruva Maharaj. So right now, Dhruva went from feeling pretty angry, now he's feeling very determined to be able to meet the Lord. So the Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 4.8.51 is when Narad Muni is describing Lord Vishnu. He says, the Lord is always smiling, and the devotee should constantly see the Lord in this form, as he looks very mercifully toward the devotee. In this way, the meditator should look toward the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the bestower of all benedictions. So now, Dhruva meditated very hard on the Lord, and Dhruva gets the darshan of Lord Vishnu. And this is when the climax of his emotional transformation occurs. Dhruva becomes a pure devotee of the Lord, and he completely changes his emotions. He went from very angry and very resentful to a pure devotee. So Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 4.9.11 states, Dhruva Maharaj continued, O unlimited Lord, kindly bless me so that I may associate with great devotees who engage in your transcendental loving service constantly, as the waves of a river constantly flow. Such transcendental devotees are completely situated in an uncontaminated state of life. By the process of devotional service, I shall surely be able to cross the nescient ocean of material existence, which is filled with the waves of blazing fire-like dangers. It will be very easy for me, for I am becoming mad to hear about your transcendental qualities and pastimes, which are eternally existent. So Dhruva Maharaj begins to show like all the qualities of a pure devotee, as is stated here that he's becoming mad to hear about the qualities and pastimes of the Lord. And afterwards, Dhruva Maharaj returns home, back to the palace where his father, his brother, stepmother are. He forgives all of them, and he goes from becoming very angry and resentful to very humble and forgiving. Śrīmad-Bhāgavatam 4.9.48 states, the two brothers, Uttama and Dhruva Maharaj, also exchanged their tears. They were overwhelmed by the ecstasy of love and affection, And when they embraced one another, the hair on their body stood up. So this shows, especially from the beginning, Dhruva Maharaj being very angry that he can't sit on his father's lap, to being very loving toward his brother, who was instead sitting on his father's lap. So, thank you so much for listening. Hare Krishna.